Ink ribbon.
Tomb Raider made the jump from small game to international phenomenon with the release of Tomb Raider 2 on the PlayStation 1. With more rounded out gameplay, new outfits, locations, vehicles, and braid physics, Lara set out on one of her best adventures. Today we are going to take a peek behind the development curtain and get an unfiltered look at some of the things we may have missed. Here is my list of the top 10 secrets and Easter eggs in Tomb Raider 2.
Number 10.
Croft Manor. Upgraded from the first game, the mansion is now unpacked and vastly more explorable, even allowing Lara to go outside. Speaking of which, there is a new fancy garden maze which leads to a secret switch that can unlock a hidden room in her mansion, but the catch is that there's a time limit. The way to get in and out of the maze in time is actually pretty easy to remember though. When entering, make only right turns until you reach the wall, and then make a left, and do the opposite on your way out. If you make it in time, you gain access to Lara's secret treasure room. There's also a window glitch where you can get into the mansion from the assault course if you enter here. This also allows you to be in the mansion without Winston following Lara everywhere. Of course, there is another way to keep Winston at bay. For the players who don't know what I'm referring to, Lara has a big walk-in freezer which is only able to be opened from the outside, making it perfect for trapping your unsuspecting flatulent butler in. By the way, I thought I'd look up how fast you can freeze to death in a walk-in freezer, and it turns out it can happen in less than 10 minutes. I had no idea that you could freeze that quickly, and I'm sure neither did Lara. You guys did let him out eventually, right?
Number 9.
Noteworthy levels. In classic Tomb Raider, there's always some levels that stand above the rest, so I thought I'd highlight the ones from this entry in the series, starting with the Great Wall. The first level of the game, the Great Wall of China, was a fantastic set piece for the opening of her quest. You may know the Great Wall of China as being a popular tourist spot filled with people, but in this level, the section of the wall is a bit broken down and falling apart, which is actually true to life. There are large sections of the Great Wall of China that were too expensive to maintain, so they were left to wear and tear, and even those parts have become tourist destinations for the more adventurous explorers out there. Also worth mentioning is the hidden area. Near the end of the level, you will reach a zip line that hangs over an enormous gorge, and you could ride it all the way down to the end of the level, but if you instead make your way down to the bottom, you are greeted by not one, but 2 T-Rexes. The Opera House is memorable because of its very nature, having a surrealistic flair and almost feeling out of touch with reality, like a nightmare. Randomly swinging crates, spiked shards of glass, falling sandbags, collapsing floorboards suspended over giant chasms, and the lack of any seats. These all were probably just a result of the 90s being the 90s, but it really gave this level its own identity. It's also worth mentioning that there is a poster in this level that can be seen depicting Bartoli, which could be Marco or his father Gianni, who are the leaders of the cult Lara is pitted against throughout the game. Then we move to Barkhang Monastery, a fictional monk temple located in Tibet. This level is not only a beautiful and exotic locale, but it has a lot to offer. Right off the bat, you can observe monks fighting with mercenaries, and the outcome of the battle can vary. The interesting thing here is that the monks will not harm Lara so long as she doesn't harm them, also marking the first time in the series we meet peaceful enemies. If you are to hurt them, the monks you encounter across the level will attack Lara instead of helping her, making the level much more difficult. One of the infamous key items, the prayer wheels, which were used in this level, were a subject of an Easter egg in the Tomb Raider movie.
You stole my prayer wheels.
Stole? From you, that's funny.
I'd also like to take a moment to mention Lara's outfit because I found this interesting. Over the years, she's gotten a lot of flack at the fact that she is wearing a warm jacket but has her legs completely exposed to the elements. In fact, this outfit would actually be perfectly practical in this climate. Because of Tibet's altitude combined with the climate, the temperature can vary throughout the day. While the altitude and wind chill can make it extremely cold, the sunlight is also very intense and can heat you up quickly, making the temperatures range from 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 degrees Celsius all the way to -2 Fahrenheit or -19 Celsius. So Lara can show off those heat dispelling legs all she wants. Then there's the Floating Islands, one of the most unforgettable levels in the series and one of the ones with the most fan speculation. Across many message boards and forums, you'll see people talking about whether or not this level takes place in reality or in an alternate dimension, and with justification on both sides. A lot of conventional rules of physics are broken here, mainly by the Floating Islands, made up mostly of solid jade. Accompanied by a pitch black sky with no visible floor below you and very creepy music, this level has invoked fear in a lot of players. The main theory of this level from fans is that when Bartoli stabbed himself with the dagger, it transported him and everyone nearby, including Lara, to another dimension, only sending her back after she kills him. This is also backed up by the fact that she appears back at the Great Wall after escaping everything, ending the game where she began her adventure.
Number 8.
Glitches. As with most games, Tomb Raider 2 has a few of its own glitches. Some good, some bad, and some weird. First is probably the most well-known one, dubbed the corner bug. By lining Lara up perfectly with an outward-facing corner, jumping will slowly move her forward, and if she clips into the corner just right, the game thinks she is now on top of whatever that corner is and teleports her there. Aside from the many uses in the main levels, this is also a great way to get on the roof of her mansion, as well as hopping out of her front gate, which is normally inaccessible. Speaking of Croft Manor, if you were a Game Shark cheater like I was back in the day, then you may know about this one. In her mansion, she can equip weapons if you activate them, but since she's not meant to have any, this is the result if you try to use them. Another glitch allows Lara to survive very big drops if she dives into pools of waters that are at just the right height. And lastly, there's a bug where doing certain actions at the exact moment you draw your guns will confuse the game, causing it to think you don't have a weapon equipped when you do. The easiest way to trigger this is to pick up a flare and then equip your gun at the exact moment you pick it up. And you can also do this on ladders. If done correctly, Lara will be running around with her guns in her hand. To take this glitch a giant leap forward, you can combine the firing speed of one gun with the ammo of another. For example, using this glitch with the M16 and then equipping the grenade gun will allow Lara to fire grenades at insanely fast speeds, perfect for some of the tough bosses in the game.
Number 7.
Titanic. While the game was in development, a lot of levels were changed, but probably the biggest one was the level Wreck of the Maria Doria. First, you'll notice that Lara has a black and orange wetsuit, completely different from the Sola one she wears in the final game, which is a real wetsuit company, by the way. Then you have the level itself. Originally, Lara would go through the Titanic, but it was later changed to the Maria Doria. It's not clear as to why the change was made, but it was most likely a legal reason. The choice of the Maria Doria is interesting because it's also based on a real-life ship, the SS Andrea Doria, an ocean liner that collided with another ship, capsized, and then sank off the coast of Italy in 1956. The only real difference from the two, other than the name, is that the Andrea Doria rested on its side, while the Maria Doria rests completely upside down.
Number 6.
Unused content. Because of the tight production schedule, not much extra content exists, but there are a few things that were left on the cutting room floor. First is some unused dialogue from the tutorial area indicating some sort of slide as well as a shooting range we're going to be in the game.
To use the slide, press jump and action, and I'll grab on. Whee! This is my shooting range. Pull that lever there to start it up. Stand against the lever and press action to pull it. OK, draw my guns and press action to fire. Holding action down allows me to track the target I'm locked onto until it's finished off.
While nothing here was cut from the game, I just want to show some appreciation to the very cool concept art for several characters and enemies in the game. There are also some storyboards for the cancelled FMVs for the Tomb Raider Gold expansion. There's an unused outfit for the 5th secret level in the Golden Mask expansion, Nightmare in Vegas, where Lara would have worn an interesting leopard print outfit. There is a mod made by the Tomb Raider community, dubbed the Director's Cut, that restores the outfit as well as bringing the level back to what it was originally imagined as, if you want to try it out for yourself. And last, we have the only unused enemy in the game, a giant jellyfish, found by the YouTuber named Twilight Princess.
Number 5.
Secret statues. Tomb Raider 2 had a unique system for finding secrets from all the other games, where instead of simply finding a secret area and picking up goodies, you instead had to pick up all 3 statues in a single level to be rewarded immediately. These dragon statues come in 3 variants, stone, jade, and gold, and there are a total of 48 statues in the game hidden in every level except the Dragon's Lair and Home Sweet Home. Now, most of them simply give you extra ammo, but it's worth mentioning that the first level is the most important one to get all 3 in, and probably one of the easiest, because, unlike all the others, it doesn't just give you extra ammo, but it also rewards you with the grenade gun. Now, just because that's the case, don't think you'll find all the weapons easily. Some guns are actually pretty well hidden within levels. The Uzis can be found in Bartoli's hideout on the roof of a shack, and the diving area holds the M16 if you can manage to avoid setting Lara on fire with traps.
Number 4.
Nude Lara. We live in a time when anyone with a decent computer can learn how to mod games with ease. Back in the 90s, this was not the case. That's why these joke articles talking about a supposed secret cheat code that would make Lara naked spread like wildfire. The developers announced several times that no such code existed, but gamers across the globe did not let that stop them and kept seeking it out. What's interesting is that in an interview with GameGeek in 1998, Toby Gard revealed that the publisher actually requested a nude code be added to the game, but the developers refused. So they finally did the only thing they could and put in the cheat for Tomb Raider 2. So, while the game sold like hotcakes, a certain subgroup of gamers, namely horny teenage boys, ran home, popped in the game, and followed the instructions to make Lara naked. Walk 1 step forward, 1 step backward, turn around 3 times, and... Gotcha! If you ever wondered why the exploding Lara cheat seemed a little random, now you know. All the gaming magazines at the time immediately changed the cheat code to say exploding Lara, but for a brief moment the developers were able to have the last laugh.
Number 3.
Golden Mask. For PC players only, each installment of the series later came out with an expansion, while console players were never able to try them, since DLC wasn't a thing back then. In Tomb Raider 2, this expansion was Tomb Raider 2 Gold, also known as the Golden Mask, and consisted of 4 levels and a secret 5th level. The 4 main levels take place in Alaska, with Lara searching for a mask, but there's no story element, so it's just levels for fun and exploration. The 5th level is really cool though, called Nightmare in Vegas, and it takes place in what appears to be a combination of her mansion, Las Vegas, and some really trippy visuals. The most common theory behind this level is that it's just a nightmare Lara has after all her adventures, which is why you would see so many enemies like a T-Rex, a screaming Yeti thing, and even Winston walking around. And if you've always dreamed of playing them, there are downloads online where you can get the extra levels for free, and they're compatible with most versions of the game, as well as a standalone expansion that doesn't require the original game to play.
Number 2.
Venice Violins. Tomb Raider has always had beautiful music, and one of the songs heard a few times is a track consisting of a grand orchestral symphony of strings, a song called Venice Violins. I saw a lot of people asking online what this song was. Bach? Beethoven? Vivaldi? Nope. This song was composed specifically for this game by Nathan McCree, who composed all the music for the game, including the title theme. Probably the most impressive thing about this song is that not only was it written in 2 days, but it's completely performed with synthesizers. Also, he provided his voice to the game, playing the legendary role of Winston.
Number 1.
Development. While Tomb Raider was riding the road to success, there was a lot going on behind the scenes. The team from the first game, consisting of only 6 people, was basically what we'd call an indie game nowadays. Thanks to the success of the first game, the dev team was doubled and funding was increased because they had a very tight deadline. Given only 1 year to finish the sequel, one notable staff change was the departure of Toby Gard, the creator of Tomb Raider, and of Lara. The marketing and overall image of Lara had become very sexualized and not at all how Gard had pictured Lara to be. So, to keep him busy, Core gave him 2 choices. You can make a port of the first game for the Nintendo 64, or you can make Tomb Raider 2 the way we want it. And since neither of those options interested him, he actually left the company, leaving them to figure out things on their own. Another notable change was Lara's new voice actor, Judith Gibbons. Shelley Blonde, the original voice of Lara, was actually asked to reprise her role, but due to contract obligations, she was unable to, and instead told the developers that they could use any sound bites of her that they wanted. Which they did in both Tomb Raider 2 and 3, but mainly just things like grunts and miscellaneous sounds that Lara makes. Because of the momentum and creative energy built up, the team had actually started working on the sequel before the first game even released. They just had so many ideas and things they wanted to try and implement, and the team just simply kept working. And this is great because the game ended up being one of the best entries in the series and beloved by fans across the world. And that's it for this video. If you learned something new, then please click that like button, and I invite you to subscribe for more content like this. I hope you all have a great day. I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Your extra support means the world to me and helps me keep making content for you guys.